Hey, welcome everybody back to our Autocad series. We've drawn a number of drawings that we've done. We want to add to this drawing, so we will work on a few things to give us an idea of what we've done up to this point. So we've used our line command and dimensions to create a simple part and just be able to use the combination between the mouse and the line, and then we dimensioned it, put the name on it, and then printed it. We show you how to print it to a window and then get it to the right printer, which should be the printer in my room. The other ones, then we used a series of commands that we've talked about. We looked at the line command, fillet. We've done circles in the radius and diameter. We've used our trim command. And then again, we've got back to now using some text. Whenever we print a drawing or get ready to print, it's kind of nice if we put the hour on it and the class and then be able to put your name. So with our text tool works out pretty well. So each of these simple drawings, we're trying to address the introduction maybe of one line at a time. Now this one here, we added another command called the offset, in which we found these circles, which would have been diameters. Then we took a construction line and did our offset command, and then we were able to put in two more lines, or I should say two more circles off the offset line that we put on the part. So we've done creating slots. Slots are really kind of a standard feature in almost all manufacturing processes. In our particular case, we put two circles, we connect them with a line, finding the intersection point, and then using our trim command, which is the scissors, then to create the slot. Here again, we use the title block, giving the correct dimensions for it. We use the text tool then, and then put our name. So it's always nice to give the drawing a part name as well. So we managed to put a part name to it. Some of these other ones we didn't do that, so we'll always try to get a part name associated with it. And so we have 5. So let's go ahead now and do the next one. Actually, this one's called the Bennett, and it's a T drawing. Looks like a T. So let's go ahead and start that. So we'll just get a random space over here, a clean space, and start with our line command. Remember that we always want to try to have this line command set at 0 degrees. And this first line is 8 inches long. No. Whoops. 4 inches long for this first part. That's not even right. It's actually 5 inches. No, it's 6. Oh my gosh. It's too early. Had to look at the drawing closer. So our first part is 6. This thing down is 2. Now I'm going to make sure that I'm going to hit the tab key and make sure that I get it at 90 degrees. This one then is 2. Going straight down is 6. Back over to 2. Another 2. This one I'll make sure then that we have the 90 degrees, hitting the tab key. This should be 6. Hit that tab key, make sure then that this is 180. And then we'll finish out our part. So there it is. So if we throw some dimensions on there, 6, 2, 2, 6. This bottom part would be 2, so these would be the same. And then this would be the same, and then let's put this one on the end. Now, this is kind of interesting. So that should have been 2, but when we look at it, evidently there's something amiss, you know, when we're talking about the 2 decimal places. So what we can do is, let's do this. Let me double snap on that dimension, and I can actually retype this in 2.00, hit that delete key, and then when I click off of it, it creates that. So no one will actually know that we're just off by 2/100ths. And there would be our part. So there's a slot that we need to create in here. So that slot part would be in here, so we get a chance to use our offset command that we're going to offset this in. So we're going to bring this in down the center. So let's just put a construction line in here, and the construction line has to be right down the center. So one of the things we can do with our line command is use a qualifier called MID, and that literally will find the center point of the line or the midpoint of the line. And I just want to draw a construction line out here, and I'm not too concerned about the distance. I'm just going to put it out here, and I drew that at 0 degrees. Now let's do our offset. We'll offset this line because we want this slot to be right in the middle, but it's 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side. So let's do an offset of 1, like that, and then part says we can do an offset of 4. So those are the 2 lines. So we've added our line command, we put dimensions. Remember that on the line command that you can use the tab button to toggle back and forth between distance and angle. And that's kind of a big deal, so be able to, you know, we have ultimate control then of where that line needs to go. So we've used an offset, which is a relatively new command, but that copies a line at the distance that we want, copies it exactly at the distance exactly that we put in. Works a little different though in that you have to, once you engage the offset command, you must put the offset in first before you touch on any part. So it needs to work that way. So distance first, and then you can touch on whichever thing, part, line, circle that you want to offset, and then put it in there. So let's go ahead and make this slot. Remember that Autocad allows you to put in circles in either based on radius or diameter, and the R is symbolism for radius, so we'll pick the radius, and our drawing part says 0.437, 0.4375, and then we'll create the same one over here. Well, let me do something. So rather than making a new circle, let's add a little command here now. So we know that we need to make this same circle over here. So we can do it one of 2 ways. We can redo the circle, or we can use a copy command. The copy command is here at the top. And let's copy this circle rather than making a new circle. So I want to select on the circle. I hit the enter button now, and I'll grab the center, and I'll just move it over here. So I can put this on a part as many times as I want. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, man. Looks like the Uzi went out of control here. So let's just delete those. So I'm going to put a box around them. Delete. Sorry, I'm playing. A little foolishness on my part. Okay, so since we have the construction lines in, let's do our whole process of creating a slot. So let's do the intersection from the top of the circle to the bottom of the circle. Now let's do our trim command. We want to touch the two lines and the two circles. And boom and boom. There we have it. Just created a slot. So we'll leave that for now. We'll want to go back and put in our center marks. So now let's work on, so there's two diameters that we want in this particular place. So let's do the same thing. Line, and we want to find the middle point of that. Or we could do an offset. We did an offset of 1 inch. We could do it that way. MID works. MID, click. Or if we wanted to create a 1 inch offset, we could do that. And then notice then that, click on the same, on that side, it would do exactly the same thing. So depending on what you want, there's more than one way to put lines in. Since it's real easy, since we have a nice part given in the dimensions, it was easy for me just to do the line command, MID to MID, and got the midpoint of the line. But that's not to say then that. And now we'll use the offset command, because I need to find 1 inch, an intersection here at 1 inch to be able to draw the circle. So we will use now the offset of 1 inch, and click 1 here and then click up. And now diameter. These the symbol for the 1 inch diameter, which is the circle with the line through it. Again, I can go ahead and put another circle down here, but I have such an easy time here with my copy command. And there you have it. So over here, let me just write down. So what are the commands? Commands we've used, new, offset. We looked at copy. And then our list of, we did line. And then on the line, remember MID was kind of critical to us. We did circle. We got circles on there in a couple different ways. And if I can spell circle correctly, we'd be in business, and I still can't get it. One of the nice things about this program is it's got spell check. We did circles. We did diameters. We did radius. Can you think of any other command that we did? Dimensions. Oh. Then we're going to use the text tool to get our name on there. Oh, and I know one more. The center mark. So, oh crap. Oh man, I hit the wrong key. Well, I'm not doing that again. Okay, so let's clean this up. Put some center marks in there. So let's get rid of our construction lines. Center marks. The only place I know is annotate. Grab there. I'm sure there's another place to get it. But there's our center marks. Now let's finish up with our dimensions. Dimensions of circles. Okay, so here's a little secret that I learned in the war. If you have two circles that are exactly the same kind, rather than dimensioning both of them, which we certainly could, there's another little way that which is acceptable, and that is we just tell the reader how many circles of this size that we have. So if I double snap on this number, I can actually do the 2 times. So now I'm scared. So I hit the escape button, and then it tells me that I could do that. All right, so there we have it to 2 times. Let's just find out where it is, though. I'm going to pull this guy up a little higher, because our shorter dimension always should come first. So we want to have that to the inside. And then the longest dimension always comes out to the end. And look at that. Why is that? That's interesting. Okay, so then let's go in. So it's 1 inch. It's not 0.9964. Why don't we just do the 1.000? Oops, missing a 0. If you have 4 decimal places, you should have the 4 decimal places in all of them. Let's see how this one works out. See, that didn't... That's funny. Okay, let's fix it. If you're in a contest, the judges is not going to know. Oh. They know that's going to be a problem. Okay. Oh, I grabbed the wrong dimension. And another weird one. So we want to make sure that this is 1 inch, so it's not letting us do that, so let's try this. Let's put it on fresh again. There we go. So there we have it. Let's dimension this. Now you want to try to group dimensions. So for example, we could put this one up here. Actually, we should really consider something. So when you look at a combination of dimensions like this, we look at 6 and 2, which is equal to 8. When we get to the manufacturing process, we may have some difficulty with our machinist trying to give you exactly 6 and then trying to give you exactly 2. So what we do is we take out one of these dimensions. Let's delete this 2, and then do the overall dimension. So our overall dimension should come up to be as 8. So as a machinist now, I can say, okay, you're telling me that the most important spot is that I need to get this right between this shoulder and this one as being 6, and then I can make the overall part as being 8. So this particular piece in here is not as sensitive, so I can go ahead and do that for you, which it can be easily done, and then worry about where these holes are located. So this would be a better opportunity for somebody to create this part rather than doing consecutive drawings all the way down the line and giving this one corner then specifics as being kind of a big deal and kind of important. So here again, what I've done is, let's look at this. So I've got a 2, I got a 2, and I got a 2. That says 6. So as a machinist, this is going to be a little difficult for me to acquire, because one of these is going to have to get sacrificed. So pick a side that you feel is important. Let's say this corner is kind of a big deal. So I'm going to delete this 2, and then I'll come along and make these two 2s more important than I have the finished part. So that's, you know, when you start doing consecutive dimensions, it is a little bit better, and it makes the machinist a little more comfortable rather than having tried to do the 2, a 2, and 2, and then still maintain your 6th dimension. Because if this needed to fit into a holder, we'd have a difficulty trying to maintain all 3 dimensions and then try to hit your 6. Now here again, for the slot, we have the 1, and I don't know why. See, when if we were doing to the 4th decimal place, you know, that kind of sucks. That somehow we add that little piece and then do this, and that one looks good. Okay, so then we'd want to line these up and make sure that we only have one arrow. Still off a little bit. There we go. And then here too, Good Housekeeping says that we want to line these up. Okay. Little housekeeping thing here. Let's line these guys up. Guess I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist. So that would be our overall part. So a couple of things. Let's put a title block around it. Now, since I've done a title block a couple, 3 times, I don't really need to make it. I can remember that we have this copy command that I can just grab And I'm even going to grab more than that because this is your class. I'm going to grab the words too. And uh-oh. See, now we have a problem. As we get bigger parts, our normal title block isn't going to fit. So we'll have to create one then that looks reasonable for the drawing side of it. I can grab the words though. Let's copy your class. Let's pull that over there. We'll use that. And then your name, since you already have it done. We don't have to retype it. Let's work smarter than harder. I also could consolidate and move some of these dimensions down. We don't necessarily need to have so much room. If we were to look at old school dimensioning, from here to here, the first dimension, the old book says then that we have to have that at least a minimum of 3/8 inch away from the part, and then consecutive dimensions beyond that should be 1/8. Should be 1/4 away from the other drawing. So we can push this smaller. But since we've got nowadays with Autocad, we really don't follow the old school method so much anymore in terms of the way we would put this together as a paper drawing. A lot of that stuff we've thrown out the window where we really don't pay attention to it. Although I can look at this and know that roughly have it about right. Again, if we have 4 decimal places for one drawing or one dimension, you really should have it out throughout the part. If I have one here at 3, then I really should run over and set all these others at 3. Now, there's a way that we can fix that, but I'm not going to do that yet now to show you how to customize dimensions. We'll just keep the standard stuff as we're working on it. So let's go ahead and put a title block around this. I'm going to use, guess I haven't used this before yet. Let's use the rectangle command. And what that will do is it will make a rectangle for us. Move that in a little bit. Oh, I didn't mention this piece yet. So this is the same scenario as that. We have 2 of them. We could go ahead and dimension 2, or we can go in and touch on this one and then do our 2 times. And if I hit my escape button, it should say, hey, am I done with that? Yep. Now we have them both. So let me go look at what this might look like on a preview. I guess I don't really care when you print this how it might look, but the 8.5 by 11 piece of paper is proportional, and this will go ahead and put it on there. So you see then that this is a considerably larger drawing than we have here. All of this will come up, but when we print, the printer itself or AutoCAD will try to scale this down and be able to put it on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper for you. So let's go hit the big A and let's print. And you wouldn't have to worry about this, I guess, as long as you took and used your window to get this on. Before I send it to the printer, though, I'd want to preview it. So take a look and see how, oh my goodness, okay. That looks sweet. If I had to, I could extend this line a little bit longer, but boy, this is a nice looking drawing. So I guess I would leave it like this, and I wouldn't, wow, if it works, don't fix it. Okay. So I'm not going to print it, but those would be the two steps that you'd want to do. The other thing that I'd want to do is let's make sure that we start putting the part name on here. And funny enough, this is what's called a Bennett. So that I can make sure I spell it right. I started naming them after students when we started putting these things together. I would say that this probably could be something maybe called a T-slot. If you want to actually name it to more what it looks like, I guess that would be the manufacturer. Angle bracket, the T-slot, slotted T. Might fit, but it was just funny that this one was called the Bennett, and here he is. So let's move on to a next one. I got another one here to do. Let's put this one away. Find another one. Still looking. Did we do the drop catch yet? No? Okay, let's do the drop catch. Okay. So the drop catch is an exercise in really an exercise of using the two commands of distance and angle when we're putting dimensions on or as we're constructing parts. So this one is mostly circular. So what we could do is give this a center, create a couple of centers here. The distance, really angle doesn't matter. It should be 90 degrees, so I got the 90, and then do one here going like this. So anytime that we have parts that are mostly circular, I always like to start with a big old X on the page or a T, and that way we can start on these construction lines then would allow us to get things going. So right off the bat, we have circle commands. Remember that there's two ways that we can put circles on there. One is width of diameter and the other one is radius. It's interesting that when we switch over to the 3D modeler, Inventor will only allow you to put in as a diameter. It doesn't give you the radius option. So and then if it shows up in radius, then you got to do a little math in your head to be able to get the correct size circle. So let's do radius, And the drawing says that we have a radius of 0.75, and then we have a diameter of 3. So those are the two dimensions that are off of there. The part itself has the first line here at the distance. The dimension tells me to put in 4. Make sure that that lines up. And then let's go away from that just a little bit, and then we're going to work on walking it through from the bottom side. So here we had a line starting at 3. Okay, so now this one's tricky. So here we want to have a line that the short angle here has to be 45. The short angle on the left has to be 45 degrees, but notice that AutoCAD is not allowing me to put that angle in there. It's taking it from the 0 point. Remember that AutoCAD always starts from the 0 point pointing to the right and then indexes out in both directions from that 0 point. So if I have on the short side here I want 45 degrees, I need to do a little bit of math. So let's just go ahead and bring up our calculator. And I know that a straight line is equal to 180 degrees, and we need to minus 45 from that, giving me 35 degrees. So let's do that. So the line is 2 inches long. So hit the 2, now hit the tab key, and we want to type 135. That's what our calculator said. So let's put a dimension in there and let's verify that. So I touch on this line, and then if I touch on this line, it automatically gives me the angle, and there it is. We will put that in momentarily. I don't know why it switched back to that, but we'd want this one. So I click here, and then it would give us that 45. So I'll put that dimension in now. That's something that we'll put in a little bit later on. I can leave it there, I guess. But we know we have this line is 2. Next, connected to the top of that is another 2-inch line. And now here we want to come down. Now notice though that because we're going in a downward direction, it did start from the 0 point, which is a good thing for us. So now we can type the 2-inch line, hit the tab key, and we automatically again get 45 degrees. Our last line, now see where it won't lock down for me this time, so I just want to make sure this is another 2. And to really be careful, I'll definitely lock in the 0 degree, and then we want to connect it here at the top. Now, the dimension, if we did this correctly, is 4.2426. So let's connect here. And 4.2465. Oh my goodness. So we're off a little tiny bit. Something didn't play out for us. So let me just check a couple things here. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this line. And I'm going to delete this line. So let me then go back. And now it's locked in a 0. So 4, now connect. So somewhere we messed up because the drawing itself says 4.2426. So we're off by 2/1000ths of an inch, roughly. Well, let's see if we can. So that's 3, that's 2, that's 2, that's 2. Yeah, I don't know where it's off, but we're off a little bit. So here we go. So let's not tell the judges. So let's type 4.2426. Psst, don't tell anyone. The judges won't know the difference. Okay, so there you have it. This part of the circle needs to go away. We've done that before using our trim command. Let's touch here and the circle. Now hit the space bar and let's remove him. Let's get rid of our construction lines. Use our erase, click and click. Let's find our center mark under annotate. We've done these before. Let's grab the big circle though, so it gives us a nice circle. And then let's throw in some dimensions. Back to home, dimension. See, now there's probably where our problem is, because that was supposed to be 4, and for some reason, look at the number. Now, when we put that line in, we did put 4, but yet for some reason, it's dimensioning out as 3.9973. Well, we got a little minute, maybe. Maybe we can fix it. Maybe it'll fix it for us. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to put in that dimension as 4.1234. Now let's connect. Oh, look at there. Bingo. We made it. We found the mistake. And I would have swore I put it in as 4, but I didn't put it in as 4.0000. So Bob's your uncle. There you have it. We found our mistake. Now look at that. Son of a gun. We just can't win, can we? I don't know what to tell you. Alright, so I will fix that. 4.000. Hit the delete key. And if I hit the escape button, then say yes. This one now, if we dimension it, you'll notice then that it will put in the 135 where we wanted that to go. So in this one then, we could just do a line dimension. Might be easier if we grab it over here. Let me take him out and put the line dimension in. I don't know if we can get a 45 in here. Yeah, there we go. So it did allow us to do that. One radius, one diameter. Sweet. This one, we wanted the 3. We need a 2. See, now here we got the same issue. We want the 3 and the 2 and the 2. If I was actually to be making this for a company, I would keep this one out of here. I know the drawing says that, but what I would do though is if I actually had to create, oh, look at that. If I actually had to create this for a manufacturer, I would want to put the overall dimension of 7. And there again we're off a little bit, and I don't know why. See, look at here. So it must be, this didn't trim quite right. We didn't get our 3. So, you know what, I'm not going to tell anybody. So, there you have it. Got another drawing done. Again, this is small enough that I think I can copy all of this stuff. Take the title block, words, yeah, I think I can make this fit. All I gotta do is move these 2 over. And there you have it. Let's see once. What do we call this? This one is called the drop kit. So we ought to get that name in there. Remember that we can use the text tool for that. I always like to do the single line command. Click here once. The height and the rotation. So 0.2 or actually about 1/4 inch is what we're using. Gonna hit that again because we want it to be at the 0 angle. Make sure that your caps lock is down because we really kind of like everything for our industry to be in all capital letters. And there you have it. So again, if we were to print, hit the big A, print, here's the printer, put it to a window because we got a lot of drawings out there. We wouldn't want them to print all tiny drawings on one sheet. We only would want this much to print. And let's take a look. And oh my God, that is a beautiful drawing. So we'll just cancel that. Right, so there it is. That's a nice looking drawing. We've got a little more time. Let's go get another one and put it together. If we wanted to, again, make a list of the commands that we did. Let's see if we can get it to stick this time. So using the single line command. Alright, so the command list, commands we used, line, circle. So in the circle one, I can't seem to spell that one right. In the circle category, we did the dim, we did the radius, We also did offset, dimensions, in the dimension category, we remember that we can do it in both ways. We can look at putting in dimensions either as distance and then hit the tab key so that we can create the angle. We did that in both cases. We used our trim command, text, actually in this case we didn't use the offset command, did we? We did it in the last drawing, but I guess we didn't use offset this time. Center mark. Print. We want to talk about commands. Remember now when we print in the print cycle, what do you have to do? Pick the printer. And then what? Pick the window. Okay, so I don't know, doggone it, why I can't get that to stick. Shucks. You know, once it goes away then too, you can't bring that back. Yeah, so. Arg. Lost it again. All right, we got time for another drawing. Let's go ahead and look at another one. See what we got here. I have lots and lots of drawings. Oh. Do a cover plate. Cover gasket plate. Yeah. A lot of parts need, you know, where we have openings and then we have shafts that come through. We usually have to have a gasket of some type. And looks like I'm looking at this one and it says we're going to use the line, the trim command, we're going to use the circle command. This time we'll have to use that qualifier of the tangent piece. We'll do fillet and offset. I probably should have added a list too, because I see then that we're doing the, as we do the circle command, we also have to again put radius and diameter. I also see some center marks. I see dimensions. So this is just going to be a repeat of some of the other ones. But the new thing here is that when we put a line onto a circle, some cases it's important that that line be tangent to the circle. And we'll do that right now. So since this part is mostly circular, again, I'll start with a center mark that we'll do under construction. And I'll set this up as a 0. All right. So we'll use that as our beginning point. Circle. Again, Autocad allows us to do both radius and diameter. Let's do the first one. Well, actually, though, it's asking us for 2 diameters here. So let's do diameter 2. Up on top, we get a radius. So 2 diameters, it's asking for 1. And then 2.5. Here we go. Now we have to find another center up here where that's an offset. to go up and find another center for that circle. So we need an offset of 2. Here's our offset command. We put the distance in, and this time it wants that one and that one, and now that's created a center mark that we can use to put in 2 more circles. This one then is diameter and radius. The radius calls out. Now remember that R is our notation for radius. This says 0.8750, and the diameter is 0.5. Okay, so now we've got to connect these 2 circles, at least the 2 big ones, into a shape. And I want to put a line now that's tangent between this circle and that circle. So here we go. So there's those qualifiers that we can type in a drawing or 2 before. We use the MID to be able to connect. So let's do MID. No, let's do tangent, TAN. Connect here. So you see the little tangent symbol pop up. Now that line is connected to the circle. No matter where I put it, it will always connect to the tangent line. So it's stuck to that circle, but only as if it would be tangent. So now let's come up, and you must type it again to be able to get it to stick to that tangent point. And you can see then that I could have stuck it anywhere on the circle and it would have lined up perfectly. This spot down here, we're going to use this line. So it's this line to this line. I can use that center mark already, and then I have the intersection at that point. So there's our part completely constructed. So let's get rid of our construction lines. Oop, I gotta use that one. Okay, maybe I don't want to do it quite so quickly. Maybe we use trim to keep this one. We need to keep that part right there. And that's an erase. And there again, I did it incorrectly. So I'm going to hit the escape button. Let's hit the back button. Let's try it one more time. As I trim, I want to keep this little line right here. So what do I need to trim? Okay, from the circle to this point right here, I need to keep this little line. So let's hit the space bar. So let's take it off here, and then let's take it off there. So now I've kept that part. Now I can use my erase command to eliminate construction lines. You know, when I'm not quite done with my trimming, I need to take these 2 guys out. So let's do trim again. So I want to touch, I'm going to just touch all of these lines. You know, isn't there another way we could have done this? Let's do this. If I take and type the word all, so I want to trim all, hit that button a couple of times. See, now everything is ready to go. So now I can do this. So is there a way that we can always work smarter than harder? Yes, there is. So this one actually says that we have to use the fillet command, and our dimension then says that we have 2 fillets of 0.25 to consider on this part. So the 2 fillets, one comes in here, one comes in here. So let's grab the fillet command. Remember, now we go right to the bottom, pick a radius, and it says 0.25. Okay, when I hit the enter button now, it's armed and ready to go. So I touch this and this. Hit this one, this, and this. So there's that completed part. That looks like a gasket, huh? Our two shafts would go through here. This then would probably get laid down in some kind of a fitting and bolted down. We could fill that compartment full of oil around these shafts, or maybe there's grease inside here. Beyond that. Okay, so since we got a lot of circles, again, center marks become important under annotate. You'll find the center mark command. I'm sure there's other ways to find it. This is really the quickest way that I know. And then let's touch the two big ones. When you have little fillets like this, the general rule of thumb is that you don't do the centers. See here, I could put a center mark on it, but because they were created by a fillet and they're relatively small, we don't really need to do that. So as we look at different things, I mean, there's a lot of different rules. Mostly our center mark is related for larger pieces like this. Anytime that you put a radius and diameter, consider that you follow by a center mark. Anything created by a fillet, 9 times out of 10, doesn't require a center mark. All we need to do is put that dimension in, and that would make everybody happy. That would make our machinist happy. So let's go in and put some dimensions. So we want to call out the radius, call out the diameter. See now, once we open it up, Autocad creates the automatic piece that it's a radius. If the circle is remaining full, it will call it out as a diameter. Even though on your practice sheet, when you looked at it, it told you to put these two in as in diameters. Once you cut it out, then the dimension. So just know that this is the correct way to do it. On your worksheet though, it called it out as 2 diameters. So the next thing then, is to put in that one, this one, okay, and then let's do the fillets. So now, this one looks better this way, but when I pull it around, actually you want to try to get the dimension outside of that. So let's go ahead and just throw it on this side. So it gives it a nice look. Now, both of these are the same size. So rather than dimensioning this one, remember that we have the ability that we can double snap on that quick. Thinking, there it goes, 2 times. And then click off. So there it throws it out that we have 2 of those rather than dimensioning it, which would be kind of a weird one. It will, like I said before, it will take and give us that dimension, but it really likes to have it right on the corner like that. If I were to actually do it, I might throw it way up here so it looks better, but it gives you that little extension line, which is okay, but I can easily enough just call it out as 2 times. So let's see once. This is complete. Oh, it's not complete. I have 2 more dimensions I gotta throw out there. Remember those offsets that we did a little bit earlier? We got to get those in there. So let's grab from this corner to this corner. That should have been 2. Now why does it give us that weird number? Remember that we can actually go in and fix these. 2.000. Hit that delete button, give us one more 0. And then let's find the other one. And that one again, oddly enough, so don't tell anyone that we fixed it. And I wouldn't say anything, if this was a contest, I would not say anything to the judges that I had to go and massage that a little bit. They won't know the difference. You know, your machinist won't know that little tiny difference. Okay, so let's just see if we can get, oh yeah, we can get one of these title blocks to work. So again, rather than working harder, I can work smarter. Since I have all these drawings out here on the page, I'm gonna copy that and that and that and that. Copy the 2 words. Grab this corner. Looks like that works. Nice. Let's call this text, single line. You need the, so once I click once, notice that it asks for the height. 0.2 is fine. Actually, 0.125 is really the most standard size. That would be what I would ask if I was an old school drafting guy. 1/8 inch text height is usually what we ask for. I'll just leave it at the 0.2. Then when I hit the enter button again, it asks us to, you know, at 0 degrees, it will type from left to right. If I put a number in there, then that indicates which angle it is. Now some of you folks, here let me just show you something. When you hit this thing, you've been running it down like this. And what that does is the text height is the same, but if I click here, again, notice then that it doesn't put in, it put it in the distance that, even though it said 0.2, when you moved it like that, notice that it's gonna print or try to type really big. So I recommend that you not move that. Once you're locking it in, don't move the mouse button, just hit it twice. And we should still have it. Hit the enter button twice, and there you have it. So this would be a complete drawing. You can move the name of the drawing anywhere. You can just leave it right there. So this would be the cover gasket. Print. Remember, pick the printer. Put a window. Because we have a lot of different drawings out here on the same page. So we only want to print this one. So let's put that over. Let's preview that. Man, that looks like a pretty sweet drawing. So we'll run with that. I probably would maybe look at this a little different. We got a lot of white space here at the top, more than I have the bottom, depending on how this prints. So I could actually make this a little prettier, but I think that's good enough. So I'm not going to print it today. So what do we have? 9:30. So I guess we have about a half hour yet, 45 minutes. Let's look at another one. Boy, we are really cranking them out today. Let's file that one. What else do we have? see what we've done so far. We've done all of those door brackets. Let's grab another one here. Oh, this is called the gas cap. Oh, this one's a little different. Yeah. Or if you've got a car and you've put on and off the gas cap, if you ever put gas in it, you'll notice that it's got kind of a four tabs that have to go in a slot, and then you give it a half turn and then it locks in. So this is a drawing we call the gas cap, and it will allow us then to put some construction lines on here. We're going to put 2 circles. We'll put them both in radius, and we'll add some construction lines, and then it's going to be an operation of a lot of trimming to be able to see this part in its entirety and end up with 4 tabs on the outside. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the 2 circles that we want, is listed as 2 radiuses. So I want to put a mark here though. And let's just make sure, so the distance really doesn't matter, but I want to make sure that we're at a true 90 degrees. Let's do that. Again, these are just construction lines. Let's hit the tab key and the 0. So there you have it. So now let's look at putting radiuses. Radius number 1, 2.5, 1.75. Now we have slots that we want tabs to stick out on the end so that it matches the nozzle as we undo our gas cap, and then we want to be able to turn it 45 degrees to lock it down. So let's put in a line, a construction line here, and remember now that we just wanted to make sure that it crosses this line, and we're not concerned about the distance at this point. We are concerned about the 45 degrees. Let's do one in the opposite direction. Again, now since AutoCAD starts at 0, the tab key, 45. And then let's do this. Now here, I think we did this in a similar exercise, but look at what AutoCAD is trying to do. Since we already have that line established, it's already locking itself down in at that 135 degrees because it knows that we have one already established. So I'm just going to hit the enter button. Oh, nuts. I should have hit the I gotta hit the other mouse button so it'll lock it down. So there it is. Now let's do the other one. Notice that it again will take and lock it down to add our 135. So there we have it. All right, so now this is an exercise in trim to be able to come up with the proper tabs. So as I grab the trim command, this time I'm just going to hit the enter button and type all, hit it twice, and now I'm going to be ready to go. So here it says, as I look at the drawing, I want to keep this one, but I want to trim that one out. So trim down to the part here. So now I have the long side. This one, I want to cut that out so I keep the short side. This one I want to keep the long side, so I'm going to take this one out. I also need to take those because I don't need those all the way out. Long side, so now we come take the short side. I made a mistake. So I am going to hit the back button and start over. This is confusing. Got to keep an eye on this. So I'm going to not try to take the long lines out just yet. So I got to keep the long, so I'm taking this one, taking the long, then the short, then the long, then short, the long, take out the short, and then take the long. Okay. Now I can do the outer edge. So let me just verify. So I took out the short side, take out the long, take out the short, take out the long, take out the short, take the long, take the short. All right. So now let's do the lines. Type all, hit the enter button twice, and now let's do here and here. So I want that little part to stay. I want that little part here and here, here and here, here and here. Here and here. All right. Look at that. And my brain hurts. So now this would fit into an opposite side. And then most likely what else would we have on top of here? We would have probably, we might have, you know, a little circle here, which would be the knob coming off of it. Then you would grab on our gas cap, probably the handle. I think the cap is bigger than the actual knob, so the part doesn't ask for this, but we could put in, let's put in a 6-inch. Let's put in a 6-inch diameter, and there would be our focus. So we've gone a little bit more than. So that looks like a nice looking part. The drawing doesn't ask for this 6-inch, but I think you can see then that this would be something that we've seen in the past where we would put this onto. And I guess I'd have to, next time I put in gas, let me look to see how many tabs the gas cap actually has, whether it has 4 or 6. You'd want to put them in even numbers, but I'm pretty sure it only has 4. All right, so center marks. The center mark I would actually put, the only center mark I would put is right in the center, and make that there. Our dimension, let's put that diameter in there, and then our radius, like that. We would also need a radius on the small side. Put that there. And then it's important then for us to throw in some angles. So our 2 biggest angles would be the 45 and then probably the 135. Those would be the, I guess, the 2 most important ones. Could I figure out the other ones? Do I really need to put in a dimension of 90? I think I could figure that one out with the center mark. Would I need to do this one at 90? No, I think not. So those would be the 2 critical ones that we would need. We've given it the dimension. We got the 2 radiuses. So we're looking like that we're outside of the boundaries of our normal title block, but we got one here that we made that was a little bigger. Can we copy that? Will that one work? Our copied one? Oh yeah, baby. Fits right in there. Look at that. Nice. The only thing we're missing is, what is the part? Again, it really doesn't matter where you put the part name as long as you get it on the drawing somewhere. Let's stick it over here. We've got some white space over there. So the text height, don't change that. Don't move your mouse. Hit the enter button. We want the text to go from left to right. So don't hit the, don't change that. And we'll call this the gas cap. Enter twice. Boy, that drawing didn't take long, did it? We still got plenty of time. Print. Same print process. Pick the printer. Window. We only want this much done. We had all those other drawings out there. Let me take a look at it. See, now I would take and probably maybe extend that title block a little bit more. Let me hit the escape button. And let's grab this line. And let's just extend this one out just a little bit. So it's more rectangular-ish. And that's what Autocad is trying to do right now with your made-up title block. It's trying to force it into an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And see, there you have it. If I was really a stickler, I might try to pull the top line up just a little bit. But I think that gets the bell for us. Nice looking drawing. So you would want to print that, put it under the light, collect 2 cookies, and you'd be on your way. Well, how many drawings have we cranked out so far? 4 drawings. We still got time for a 5th. Let me look and see what we've done so far. Okay, I got another one here that is similar to combining the cover gasket and then putting a bunch of holes in it. I call it the clutch. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes in it. These are then put out there. This will really use our copy command. Let's go up here, put this one up here. So this is mostly circular again. Matter of fact, it's all of a circle. So let's just put a construction line in here. Remember that as I put construction lines in, I want to hit the tab key, do 90 degrees. Let's hit that. Looks like it's going to lock in at 90, so let's do this. Alright, so radius and diameter, right out of the chute, let's do the radius. R for radius, it's calling it out as 2.75. And then the small diameter hole, 1.5. So that's how it would start. Now, there's a bunch of circles out here though that has to go along on a center, what we call a bolt center. And we'll use our angle lines and use that bolt center to put those circles on. This is like a wheel hub, like if you were to put a spare tire on, or the rim, the wheel on your car, and notice that all those holes are there, and they're supposed to line up with all the studs so that they line up perfectly. Let's go ahead and do that and put those in using the difference between our circle command and putting some angles in. Now these are all at 30 degrees from the main center. So let's put our bolt circle in, and that's called it out as a 4-inch diameter. Okay, and then get some construction line going here. Now remember that we have the ability to put a line in both at the distance and angle. So since this is just a construction line, not so concerned with, as long as it crosses this guy, just put it out here at any distance. I'm definitely going to hit that tab key though, so I can lock it down in at that 30-degree mark. This lower one also comes in at that 30-degree mark. So let's hit the tab key, hit that, do that 30-degree mark. So those two circles are here. We have one here at the top, so that one is already, that's at a true 90 degrees, so we don't have to worry about that one. But now we do have another one that has to come out this way, and uh-oh, now we got that weird number. So we know that the total distance is 180, so we got to come back 30 degrees. So let's get our calculator out. And let's take the 180 minus 30, and it comes out to be 150 degrees. So let's shoot for 150. This is my tab key. Put this out here. Hit the tab because I'm worried about distance. I want that angle. And 150 is what I'm looking for. Let's put that. Now again, AutoCAD's pretty smart. See how it might lock itself in? If I wanted to do it that way, I could. See it lock itself in at 150? So it's just anticipating that you want to put that out there. See how that works? So it's assuming that that's the one you want. So let's just go ahead and have AutoCAD figure that one out. Now, the first circle on this center is going to go right here. And it's telling us that that's a diameter of 0.75. Now, here is a chance to work smarter rather than harder. I could go ahead and again put another 0.75 and continue to do this all the way around. Or if I use a copy command, grab a hold of that center, mark that circle, and now grab the center, I can put it anywhere on the drawing. So it's telling me to do this one, not that one, but this one, and then the end one. So we'll notice though that this is a little bit different than this one. So when I dimension this, notice that we have the 30 here and a 30 here. That one we don't need to throw in a 90, you know, there's no reason to do 90. We'll just assume that it's 90. But I will need to come and grab that one and that one. So now this one's a little different in terms of what I might want to do in terms of the center mark. If I put in a center mark on these lines, it throws it up at a right angle. I don't know if I could rotate that or not. Let's play with this one just a little bit and see what we can do. So let me erase some of this stuff. Let's see what we can do in terms of setting this up so it'll dimension correctly. What I had, if you turn that in, I'd be happy with that. So we got some time. Let's just see what we can do here. We want a center mark definitely on the big one. Grab that little one just like that. Now let's try something here. So if I put a center mark right there, can I rotate this? So let's look at, could we rotate the center mark? And it looks like we can. So could we rotate it then at 30 degrees? Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that might work. So now when I put a dimension on it, notice then that I get my 30-degree mark. I kind of like that. So let's try, annotate, let's do some fancy center marks on these things. And now let's rotate them. Go back to home, rotate, center mark. Now I'm going to hit that center so I can rotate. So what did we call this one though? We couldn't call that one 30 degrees. What did we call it? 150? Rotate. Grab the center. 150. And this one was 30. Rotate. And this would be 30. There we go. So we ran into some other difficulties with this, so let's put in this dimension, put in here. Should probably grab the other line. This one and this one. All right, now how did that come out 60? Did we rotate this one wrong? Annotate. Okay. Rotate. Was I not paying attention? So if we do the 30, that's better. Guess maybe I wasn't paying attention. And looks like I wasn't paying attention to that one either. So that one's gonna throw out a 60. So we don't want 60. We want 30. Let's go back. Center mark. Click. Rotate. Click. $30. Still not where I want to be. One more time. Annotate. Center mark. Rotate. We want the center mark rotated. So why don't I just click on, there it is. So we line it up with that other one. So now we should get the 30. Whew, that was hard. Throw some bigger dimensions on here. Do this one. Now what did we say about multiple circles on this? So since there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we could get away with only dimensioning this one time, and then we'll put out the 6 times. Smaller dimension and click. Here we go. Now we really should get a dimension to some type of circle right here. And that will take a little bit more finagling. And we're almost out of time, so what I would end up doing is put in a circle, and then I would create a layer to make that a center line. And then I could actually attach it to that. Or we could put it as a note, saying then that could be put out there as a bolt circle. So, but that's the end of our class for today. You can hear the bell. Let me just finish this up. Copy command. Grab those. Oop, forgot to grab all the lines. All right. I think they've copied that and that. The bell's got me distracted here. All right, space bar. There we go. Go through the print process for that. All right, so we got a lot done today. Hey, thanks for coming.